Oh, good morning, everybody. I haven't seen a crowd this large since I left California yesterday on the freeways. Welcome to the world of IoT. Again, I'm Bret Martin with Flextronics. 3 years ago, I couldn't spell IoT. Now I'm heading up our global IoT sales initiative for the company. How many people here, by show of hands, actually know who Flex is? Okay, there's 3 or 4 of you, good. What you may not know is Flex has had a hand in the IoT world for many years here. And we talk about being a manufacturer. Our designs with our partners start many years in advance of those products even becoming prototypes and then eventually making it to the world. So in that space, what you probably don't know about us is probably 3/4 of the world's wearables in IoT came from Flex. So we've got a very, very large hand in this space. Any car enthusiasts here? Nobody. Everybody hates cars. You're going to hate this one. Let's take a look at an ecosystem that dates back a couple thousand years ago. And I'm having a little fun here with our friends in Germany. We look at the chariot back about 2,500 years ago, made by our friends at Mercedes-Benz, that famous Roman chariot company, started the evolution of using wheels and moving people and things about. That's kind of a neat stage in human development. About 2,000 years later, we applied machinery and man-made power to those things, trading in the horses for horses of steel, steam engines, gasoline engines, etc. Not quite 25 years later, Ford pops up on the scene and mechanizes the devil out of it, and we've got a world-class manufacturing facility pumping out thousands and thousands of cars for people to drive in. That's one trend. If we look at another trend, starting off with electricity, and I may have the dates a little off here. I think we got electricity a little before we do here. But we start looking at things like what was developed from that: telegraph, telephone, computers, the internet, getting into IoT. We've got a long road and a successful concentration of technological development here. And the point I'm making is, if we take those two and apply them together, what do you get? You get self-driving cars. The application of electricity, computers, mechanical devices, moving people without people doing a thing, all in a very, very short span of human existence. It's an amazing concatenation of technology and advancements. Flex likes to use the phrase IoT to mean the intelligence of things. The Internet of Things, we believe, is the simple connectivity of everything and everyone on the planet. As we move forward, it's not so much the connectivity that's going to drive what we do every day, but it's the intelligence we gather from all that sensor data, from all that parametric data that we gather, and drive value into our life. And we believe that market sits in the trillions of dollars. It's a huge, huge space. Anybody here from MIT? Nobody willing to admit they're from MIT. Oh, we got one fell here. Okay. So 1999, the folks at MIT actually came up with the first usage of the word IoT, the Internet of Things. In a few handfuls of years here, we've burgeoned into a business that's building enabled factories, medical environments, portable devices for home health monitoring, automated cars, all kinds of things use IoT. We're looking at a very, very brief concatenation of time here in the IoT space. So what is happening with all this IoT stuff? We've got, 20-ish, 30-ish billion devices on the net today. It's going to double over the next handful of years. We've got a very congested internet. So you've got to look at companies and technologies that can actually relieve and alleviate the problem. And we believe there's something emerging here that we've seen before. If you've looked at client server, if you looked at smart computers connected to, I should say dumb terminals connected to mainframes, same kind of concept here applies with edge computing, except now we're pulling intelligence down into the device closer to where the sensor data is being generated. And we're doing that for a real good reason. If we've got 50 billion, and again, that number is going to go way north of that as we march through time, you can't have point-to-point communications from the sensor to the cloud, whoever's cloud that's going to be. The internet's just not going to be able to handle that volume of transaction. So you've got to start looking at technologies that interleave layers of decision-making from the root of the signals back to the cloud. And we think that edge computing is going to be that device. So again, think of a gateway, a router, but add intelligence to it, add a computer to it, and make it affordable so you can start pushing those decisions out to the edge of that network. We talked a little bit about healthcare just earlier, and I don't know if anybody here has been unfortunate enough to be part of the healthcare system. The thing that strikes me as kind of odd and interesting is that of all the money we spend here, $765 billion are spent on things not related to healthcare in the healthcare business. So if you look at this pie chart, if we can, as a group, collectively think about how we can automate those areas in this pie chart to take care of automating some functions inside the hospital, discharging patients, gathering data at home, gathering data when people are not in a hospital, you can start to whittle that $765 billion of spend annually closer and closer to zero, which I think would be a smart thing to do. Vinod Khosla, who is one of the early guys at Sun Microsystems, came up with this chart and looked at the way that IoT is evolving and emerging here. And I think where I've highlighted here on the second pair of stack blocks there about edge computing and edge analytics and driving real-time sensing decision-making around that is just the beginning of what we're getting engaged in with the world of IoT. As you can see, as we move farther across this chart to the right, things become autonomous, things become automated, things become valuable to the human in ways that we can't even imagine today. Again, just a quick look at what does edge analytics mean. And if you look at this chart, no matter if you think of edge analytics as a micro data center, you look at it as an industrial PC hooked up to monitoring systems in a watershed, or you look at it as a specific device looking at a very small ecosystem. Maybe you're gathering blood pressure, pulse oximetry, maybe you're looking at other parametric data from a medical perspective through a specific gateway. You're going to make some decisions. You're going to gather that data and do something with that data at that point of ingestion before you ship it all off to the cloud. So kind of an architectural view of what I think edge computing starts to look like. Some of the industries that Flex engaged in: automotive, healthcare, manufacturing, smart cities, energy. All of these industries here, by the way, Flex has got their hands into about $2 to $3 billion worth of opportunity in each one of these. So when you come to somebody like a Flex, we've got the engineering know-how. And by the way, I don't think anybody here understands, we've got about 3,000 design engineers on staff ready to tackle problems. So when you've thought about us from a legacy perspective, you thought of us as a manufacturer. We are. We've got 52 billion square feet. 52 billion, that's a great number to have. How about 52 million square feet of factory to fill every year? And those design engineers help us get to the point where we're being descriptive rather than prescriptive. So if you come to us previously, you typically have a design in mind. Nowadays, you can come to us with a bar napkin and a couple of ideas written down, and some of our engineering staff can sit down with you and actually create a solution that makes the best of what technology is available to help you get to market. For those who are kind of a little bit cautioned about looking at new markets, this chart here shows the estimated spend here over the next handful of years, CapEx, on edge computing. So edge computing is going to take off in a big, big way. So again, a little proof point here about edge computing. Where does edge computing sit? It sits basically wherever you need it to sit in the network of sensors that you're implementing. Again, we could talk to this slide for probably a day or so. This is an edge compute device from Flex. It's about the dimension of a cell phone. It's about 3 times as thick. Contains a Telit module in there for its cellular communication. Also has embedded in it an Intel Atom core processor, a 4-core processor, 5 enterprise radios, memory, power, all in this tiny little package, ready to go. Some other interesting news you might not understand about Flex is we're also in the software business. Kind of an odd thing to say for a manufacturer to be in the software business, but we've got our own IoT stack that'll take you from sensors to cloud and allow you to do out-of-band management and take care of all of your IoT software needs from A to Z. Another proof point here, and again, I talked a little bit earlier about us being involved with the IoT space a handful of years ago in the early days of wearables. Part of that is by design. We've partnered with the folks at Georgia Tech and collaboratively have a house on the Georgia Tech campus that is our connected, aware home. This slide is a little bit dated. It says that there's 150 some odd smart sensor types been implemented in that structure. It's now over 200. So if you're looking for a place, an example, to go see how multiple IoT sensors can be implemented, tiered together, aware of what the human's doing in that environment, this is a great place to go see. And if we could cue up the video, please.
Are you ready to develop and deploy the next great device that connects to the Internet of Things? Well, welcome home to the Flextronics Aware Home, that is. Located on the campus of Georgia Tech, the Flextronics Aware Home is a working creative lab in the heart of Atlanta and is one of the reasons Atlanta is leading the way in smart home technologies. With Fortune 500 and leading smart home technology companies developing and deploying smart home devices from right here in the Peach State. The Aware Home gives us unparalleled abilities to design, develop, and deploy your product in a real-world environment. And because we're located at Georgia Tech, we have access to unsurpassed research capabilities and an unmatched pool of technical talent. The Aware Home is operated by Georgia Tech's Institute for People and Technology in partnership with Flextronics, a global leader in supply chain solutions that offers design, manufacturing, distribution, and aftermarket services to original equipment manufacturers like you. With over 200,000 employees, $25 billion in annual sales, and a worldwide presence, you can rest assured that Flextronics is a trusted and capable partner. So, bring your products to the Flextronics Aware Home and let's develop something amazing together.
So again, hopefully that was a surprise to most of you that a company the size of Flextronics would actually be down and dirty in the weeds, implementing things, putting systems of systems together, and actually collaborating with a university. But that's what we're doing at Flex. We're covering everything from design, through manufacturing, through software, through integration, and of course, building sensors for those folks who need and want sensors. The IoT ecosystem as it stands today is represented by all of you here. This is a Frost & Sullivan chart that I scrounged up about a year ago. Obviously, it's moved a little bit forward since then, but the cast of characters has much remained the same. Technology partners, software partners, cloud partners. What needs to happen in this environment is for systems integration to happen. And I think we talked earlier about monitoring a watershed and taking 10 years to put system of systems together. But those are the kinds of things that are going to make our lives unique, enriched, valuable as we move forward. All of us have a role in this ecosystem. And I'd like to just conclude, and I'm well ahead of time here, that Flex would love to be your partner in the IoT space. We have knowledge in the consumer technology space, the industrial manufacturing space, the automotive space, the infrastructure space. We even think of cloud data centers as a SKU. If you could imagine coming to somebody like a Flex, implementing nodes of servers, nodes of storage arrays, top of rack network switching, all delivered in a rack as a single SKU. That's how we see data systems moving forward. Very much an atomic unit of measure, and then built out however in scale you'd like them to be. So in brief, thank you for your time. I think I've gotten us back on track here in terms of time. So I appreciate your time and attention. Thank you all.